Alright, I am recording this the morning after the finals. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was because we went back to the September milestone branch or something, but my frame rate was very choppy in the recording, so hopefully the Twitch VOD came out okay. I didn't even watch it yet. But I thought the issue was my OBS maybe interfering while also recording in Discord, so I disabled my OBS and did not capture the game. That didn't even resolve the issue. I had to restart the game to resolve the issue. So I figured since I want to post something on finals, number one, I guess, if you want to watch the actual set in like a genuine manner, it's on Hallow's YouTube, because Hallow streamed it on Twitch. However, I'm just going to go through the replays. I'm going to do a little commentary, I guess, on what I was thinking with all the plays and everything that happened. And then I'll probably do a quick run-through of, like, the draft history and just ramble a bit on the last draft stuff and mull on it. Because, yeah, it was 13 long weeks, and it was a very fun time. And a kind of significant part of my, like, I don't know, leisure life, if you will. My life outside of work, it was pretty significant, so it was fun. But anyways, let's just jump into the first game. So, first right off the bat, that's a lot of turns, holy crap. I was not expecting this lineup. I was expecting two Beastie, so I knew almost for certain that Daredillo, Bongus, and Bandy were gonna, yeah, I guess Bandy. I figured Daredillo and Bongus were like guaranteed. Bandy was probably guaranteed. And then I thought Waddle was probably guaranteed. Or I'm sorry, not Waddle. I thought Supalero was guaranteed. And I thought that the toss-up was going to be between the Waddle coming or the Diablo Ceres coming. So I was not expecting the second squid, but if we're being honest, I think the second squid was actually worse for his team than if he just picked Diablo. But the second squid still did the job that Diablo did that was troublesome and that I had to account for. So it was similar to what I was expecting, but not the Supalero. And that's significant because, how do I show Control-Shift? There we go. Because I could have run late traps on this Maraptor, and the late traps would have been great for all the switching that I know Igor likes to do. But I was aware that clear field was a problem. But I knew that Bongus was going to have welcoming, and I thought that the Supalero was for sure to come, and it was either going to have Forager, which I could take the Forager buff, or I'm sorry, I could take the Forager health, or it was going to have Confident, and I could take the Confident buff. So Trait Dance accounted for basically two BCs that I'd really want to steal traits from. And unfortunately, I'm left with only one I want to steal traits from. And that's going to play into a larger problem I had with this set, which was my action economy. Between Maraptor not really wanting to click Trait Dance a lot of times, and my Demolipede having Frazzle with no support plays, which is great for controlling defense, but not so great in the mid-game, where this game gets really drawn out because of the style of play that Igor has. And then also, I have two support plays on the Tort Anchor. Notably, I'm running Call Out to try to synergize with the Maraptor. I wanted to try to get the Maraptor healing online with Power Sap, get the Roaring buff, and then because Igor doesn't have Ramp, just kind of get it buffed, and then get in a position where I can clear field and keep healing it. Of course, I was never really able to make that happen, but this Tort Anchor Call Out didn't really do a whole lot. Like, I was able to click it, and it did some stuff for me. And now that I think about it, I think I hardly clicked Provoke. I clicked it a couple times. But there was just a lot of overlap here. I would rather swap one of these, probably Call Out, for Set. Because, especially in this Game 1, you're going to see there's a lot of positions where this Tort Anchor is just completely ignored. And if I have Set, then I can always get some sort of bonus damage, and that bonus damage really adds up against a team like Igor's, against that new team, really. But the whole point of this team comp, right, was centered around this Maraptor, and I think I had this Maraptor doing a little too much. So the quote-unquote endgame state was to get more Roaring Maraptor, spamming Power Sap in the front row with a Waddle, spamming Clear Field, going for double blocks, and then getting 30 HP back on the Raptor, 20 HP back on the entire team with Clear Field after the rest of my team went in and got low. So I was trying to be able to set up that position, and on the surface, there's not a whole lot of damage outside of Daredillo, And there's only really one way to phase it off the board, which is this Waddle, which I can use Shield against. So it looks like it's good. The problem is the Squid, which I thought was going to be Diablo with Spitball, but it doesn't matter which one it is, really. It's the Spitball that's the killer. And the Spitball really prevents me from getting into a good position to set up, and especially with my lack of action economy, it causes a lot of problems with things like Waddle getting Spitball, not being able to use support moves next to something like a Demolipede or a Hog or a Maraptor, where like if it's next to any of these three with the Waddle in, the Waddle keeps getting Spitball spammed, and I literally just volley attack. I don't have like any ground I can really make, and I start losing a lot of progress very fast. So overall, I tried to do something fun, which I like, but I leaned a little too much into the strategy, didn't give myself enough legroom with alternate strategies in case things went wrong. I knew Spitball was coming, and I did not pack a good way to deal with it, so it really caused a lot of problems, and it meant that the Squid had to be a #1 priority, and I also didn't target the Squid as much as I think I really needed to. But anyways, with all that out of the way, let's get into it. That's a lot of turns. So we go with Frazzle because I want to do Frazzle plus Sidewinder to force poor positioning. So, unfortunately, the Squid has Zigzag, which means it can do a lot of damage. So, at this point, I think I decided to just block. No, I go for an early switch, and I think this was a bad play. I think I should have blocked and let the demo get low because I want the Maraptor to come back in later. So, that play right there, actually, I was not expecting I guess it was a 50-50 of who goes into the blank slot, so I thought the Bandy would go out, but instead the Squid went out. So, just guessed wrong on the 50-50, but if I did guess correctly, the Squid would have absolutely gone down to that. The Squid could have also chosen to block and would have survived there, so maybe targeting the open lane was a better decision, but hindsight's 50-50. I think it's a 50-50 really either way, or hindsight's 20-20, but you know. Quick shield to stay alive a little longer, but now in a bad position because my entire strategy of trying to get this bird active is gone down. Oh yeah, I forgot about shield, by the way, on that one, which was also bad. But it's good to not trigger full focus anyway. So now I have to try to get clear fields up, but I can't get clear fields up because I keep getting killed by Spitballs. So now that the Squid's gone, it's actually really good for me. Because I have a chance to get Spitballs. I figure a roll shot's coming, so I don't bother trying to block. I go for the damage, and I think this just yields a point here. Yep, sacrifices the Squid. Very smart. Unfortunately, now I have a lot of low beasties, and it's going to be very difficult for me to get heals on them. So this is the incoming bounce, and I decide that if the Hog goes down, it's perfectly fine. So I'll move up, let the Hog go. The stress on the Bongus actually helps me a lot. I think I go for a Sidewinder here with a clear field. I do. Take the free point, and now in this position, I'm up 2-1, but Igor's bench is significantly healthier than mine, so the Hog coming back up is great, and what I don't think I realized in Game 1 is that Hog is really my win condition, getting the damage. I need the Hog to snipe kills at this point. I was able to scam 2 points, I need Hog to get the 3rd, because I cannot win this war of attrition, and if you want to look at this, how do I show the box? Oops, let's go back. Whoops, okay. I'm just surveying now. If you look at, hold on. How do I show the bar? All right, I'm paused. I think it's all. Oh, I just have to click, okay. So, I'm up 2-1, and this is the progress we are in the match. We are 1/3 of the way. I need to focus on closing this out faster. I need to get Hog up, and I need to get Hog to snipe the kill. And I think I focused on trying to get the healing up, which was a bad idea because it really gave Igor a chance to get some good momentum. I think that given how healthy his bench was, I didn't have a chance of winning the war of attrition, so I think a tactical mistake here was trying to play the game out instead of trying to find a way to get Hog to get the kill. The problem is, Hog gets the kill by quickset, or by Jazz front row, right? I don't have any ramping. My only hope is Jazz, and because I did not run Sun on Tornanker, that means it has to be exactly Waddle Dugout in order to get kills, because if I don't get kills, then Bongus clear fields and welcomesing and resets a ton of pressure. So this team build, basically approaching Igor's team, I needed to focus on burst damage, and the way my team is built, it can't burst damage very well, which is giving me a lot of trouble. So unfortunately, I really need to close this game out much sooner. but instead it drags on and on and on, and Igor gets a really good chance to make a comeback here. So, move up to the front row to make sure the Wild doesn't die. I start going for the clear fields to get some health back. Push the Waddle out of position because I figured the Daredevil is going to cover the backline Sidewinder, which is good. The Provoke, I thought it was going to be a Spitball actually, but that's fine as well. So I think this is a call-out. And this is actually when call-out's kind of helpful because it helps keep my Waddle in for longer to help increase my chances of getting the Hog in. So this is where I want to pause. This is a really, really, really good position for me because I have the Waddle about to be off of Anger, and I have the Hog at full health. So I have a good position to try to get the Hog in aggressively. The problem is there's a full health Bongus and a near full health Waddle, and this Waddle has a ton of spear defense. It's like right compared to, I mean, I guess it's hard to see because I have the, but like that's a 1.5 time buff. So if we take like 2/3 of 240, that's what, 180? Okay, so maybe it's not that invested in spear. But I mean, Waddle just has so much spear defense in general. And then you take into account this Bongus also has great spirit defense. There's really no way for the Hog to kill something unless I can force the board a little differently. And given the Bandicrat's health, this clearly wants to be Waddle goes to Bandy, and then there's bandwidth to get something aggressive into the front for Bandy to buff up and kill me. So the question here is, how do I get through this? And the answer, I think, is now I'm kind of forced to clear field a little bit, so maybe playing the clear field side to get my bench healthier wasn't a bad decision, but I need to keep rotating until I get to a good spot where the dugout can come in and clean up. So Tornado Ball, of course, I try to bring in the dugout. The Tornado Ball ruins me. It moves the Waddle out of position, which is a very good play for him. So now I can't heal up my back line. This Wall Breaker is a pretty good position because I could try to stack something one on top of the other, which I think is what I try to do. It's the correct play for sure if I just double volley it. But again, this is what I'm talking about with the action economy. This Hog can't do anything, and this Demo can't do anything. This is either a 1 volley or a 2 volley or a volley and walk up. Yep, so I go for the Demolish actually. Okay, so I'm just going for Chip here. So the problem with this is that now this can be a jazzed roll shot. Whereas if I did a back row zigzag and instead pushed the Bandicraft underneath, the Bandy can't get that, and it gives me a lot of tempo. It's basically just got to be like an attack and move out, and then I can slowly chip down with the Wall Breaker. This is another scenario that's going to come up later that I also misplay on that would really help. Getting the damage on Waddle is really good, but I don't know if it's necessarily my best play here. So the Tornado Ball is actually pretty good for me. I have a chance to get a clear field off. And now I can push out the... Oh, let me pause that. Pause. There we go. So I can push out the Bandicraft, and it's really good that the Waddle switches. I think I had kill on Waddle. I don't even remember. But the Waddle does switch for the Bongus, and then being able to force the Waddle in does two things. One, this is a position Waddle really does not want to be in. It can't support very efficiently from. And number two, now the Bongus can't switch into the Waddle and heal it. So... once again, we're getting more Tornado Balls. I push it up to the front. I get a call out on it. So this is the position I was talking about earlier where I'm trying to get the Roaring. I get a call out, and this would have been a good time to bring in the Waddle and start trying to get the setup. The only problem is that this Daredevil does entirely too much damage. Goes for Provoke. I tried to block the Daredevil because it was probably going to kill me otherwise. But I get a bounce, so I can either go for another call out, I can go for a Provoke, I can try to be cheeky here, I can go for damage. There's a lot of options, but I go for back row Heartbreaker to try to move around because I know this is not a good position, but I'm not sure if this is the best play, and the reason why is, while I've got the Daredillo low, the Daredillo is going to become a Bongus very soon or a Bandicraft very soon. And as you can see, this Waddle got a bunch of health back anyways because he was able to shuffle out the Waddle for their Daredillo and then bring the Waddle in back for the Bongus to keep it healthy. So I'm still not in a good position to win this game offensively, and he has successfully stalled. My backline is a little healthier than before, but I don't have a Waddle able to get the clear fields because the Tornado Ball keeps pushing me out. That's a combination of Tornado Ball from Waddle plus Provoke from Daredillo plus Spitball from the squid makes it really troublesome. So now this is a big jazz counter, and I decided to just let it go. Because the waddle coming in was something I probably should have read, but did not read, because the waddle coming in is what enabled the damage to basically make a switch really unsafe. So I initially moved the Maraptor to the back row, hoping that I could get a switch out and reset, but I was incorrect. So with the Raptor gone, it means I can't really do the strategy anymore because the sweat's going to slowly take it down, but I think that's kind of out of the loop in general. So here I go for damage, and I think the thought is... yeah, the thought is that it's going to be a switch for sure, so I can get some tremendous damage on the waddle. Because the provoke is gone, I can click shield, and this Bandicraft can only get like a front row roll shot or just like a half zigzag. So this is a pretty good position for me. The deep breath does not help. I do in fact go for shield, and now I have another tough decision to make, is that do I want to keep pressing the aggression with the hog, let it self-wipe so that I get the, and then I can switch it out for the waddle. I think that's what I go for. No, I do go for provoke. Provoke Heartbreaker. Yeah, and I think it's because I assume that the damage isn't going to mean a whole lot there. But this is a forward pass into a roll shot, I believe. Nope, it goes for the zigzag. Either way, we switch to the waddle. The clear for doesn't get me a whole lot there. I go for double volley. I do not go for damage. I need to push this Bandicraft out. Unfortunately, despite the fact that I hit the waddle down to like 19 HP, the combination of one deep breath and one bonga switch was unable to get it up. And this is the problem I'm talking about, is that I can't kill this waddle, and targeting it with the hog was a misplay. Anyways, I think if I went into the bandy and then I just took the full focus damage... well, actually, I don't think I could afford to take the full focus damage. I don't know if I had another chance at this point, to be honest. But targeting the waddle is a bit of wasted action economy. That I could have survived. I just decided I did not want to. So I had another option there. And the other option was double call out free ball to start getting the thing up. The problem is I have sweaty, so I can't. If I did not have sweaty, or if I had chant instead of trait dance, I could have done double call out into free ball, and then I could have like, well actually no, because I just keep getting spitballed. So no, there's not really any way to keep that survive going long term and then bring the waddle in and then start clear fielding. I don't really have an option for that at this point. This having Shy, they both have Shy, means it does not do a whole lot of damage. I need to stall until the hog gets back online. So I'm starting to think maybe I should have just taken out one turn with the waddle in and just taken the hit and then let it be, and then try to clean up with the hog at this point. Stop the tornado ball with the shield. Maybe not my best decision. I think probably just getting pushed out was probably better. Alright, so now, unfortunately, I hit this thing into full focus, and I'm pretty sure it's just game losing. Yeah, there's really nothing I can do here because I hit into full focus. But I don't think it would have mattered. I think regardless if I hit into full focus or not, I was probably dead there. So if we go back, I honestly don't know, because there were so many turns where everything was so nebulous. I don't know where I could have changed, but I think it definitely would have helped if I had the waddle in take that one hit, and then I could have like moved to the back row, but then I lose to Bongus if the Bongus comes in, so that's not guaranteed. But the point is, I need more HP online, and I need to not have the anger so that I can survive against a Bandicraft with Roaring, and then I can push it out, and then the Bongus isn't threatening, and then I can probably get this into the front row, and then that might give me enough turns to get the hog back in to clean up. But yeah, really tough, close game for game one. But yeah, I was 1/3 in the game with 2 points, and I just did not have the bandwidth to close it out. So I need to be able to force something more offensive, and that was the big problem with my team, is I have to play that slow game with them. I can't really force it offensive. So going into game two, I do make a couple of adjustments. It's the same serve, same counter serve. This time targeting into the Torn Anchor instead. I go for Demolish because I'm just reading it's going to go forward. I want to get damage on the squid, and this is a very good play for me, and the reason why is because this squid is what's denying my Waddle the ability to clear field, which is kind of what's keeping this team together here. So I need to get this squid out, and I need the Daredillo to not be able to provoke, and then I can sustain and keep up with him, because otherwise I can't. So getting the early damage on squid is very good for me. The roll shot, I believe, did not kill, but it would have done a lot. So I go for another demolish because I'm assuming it's going to be a shield, and I do not want to get this thing into full focus. Yep, so we go for another block here because the zigzag doesn't do too much anyway. And now is when I go for the kill. And the squid takes it. So I could have, I think the Bongus or their Daredillo comes in and survives, but I don't think it's like by a whole lot because that was a front row super commit. So yeah, the Daredillo would survive because of Acrobat. The Bongus I think would have been okay. It would have been taken like 62. But I didn't really want to hit the empty slot, but if I did, it would have been much better for me than claiming the kill because then that would have been a 17 HP squid that's forced to switch out, and then like the Bongus can get like 30 HP on it, but that's not enough for how frail this thing is in most cases to be able to recover. As you can see, this is another very long game. So the Acrobat comes in, counters online. This was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If I attacked the Bandicraft, it goes down to full focus. If I attack the Daredillo, it gets counter. I kind of knew I was screwed one way or another. And I think at this point, I'm just deciding I want the Hog to die because it's lower health, but I know it's not going to get targeted. So I've got to switch the Hog out, unfortunately, take the death with the Demo. And this is now a really bad position for me because my Hog is low, and it's going to be very difficult to get it on the field again without a sack. So that's what the situation I would like to end up with this squid. Unfortunately, I did not end up in that position. So we start positioning in the Raptor here. This is another kind of nebulous switch. I just decided I don't want the Waddle taking unnecessary back row damage. Maybe it would have been better if I did Waddle with like a clear field to get a little health on the Hog. And then like a little health on the Tort as well. Maybe it would have been better if I just did like a double volley, get it to the front, and then I can Tornado Ball out the Bandicraft to get a Waddle in the back row. But I believe this is a switch. Okay, so this is really good for me because the Daredillo now has a Spirit debuff and it can't attack with counter, so this thing is dead weight on the field, which means it basically has to switch. So I can play off of that. Clear field bounce. We go up and intercept, unfortunately taking more unnecessary damage, and this is probably why Waddle was a better pick because intercepting the bounce would have been less damage, and then if I do intercept the bounce with the Waddle, I get double clear field, which is huge, and then the Hog is suddenly online. So we are able to steal Welcoming, and stealing Welcoming is great, except for the fact that now this full focus Bandicraft is online, and I can't switch in the Hog because that's what I wanted to do, was switch in the Hog. I don't think I had kill. I actually don't remember if I had kill on Daredillo or not. I'm pretty sure I did not, which is why I didn't go for the kill, because I figured it's just dead weight there anyway, so there's a pretty good chance it switches, and I want to bruise the Bongus. So it's a provoke counter, can't block, but we're just fine because, again, the Spirit health is low. I think on that turn, by the way, I blocked the Bandicraft because I know that if I'm getting attacked by Daredillo, it's because I'm getting provoked anyway. Clear field counter, the Waddle comes in. So I boosted the Maraptor and I switched out the Maraptor, which is a little funky here. I think it would have been better if I brought the Waddle in and then like double clear field freeballed because there was really no reason to attack the Tort Anchor. But I don't know. Maybe this is the turn where I can bring the Maraptor and start getting shenanigans going. It's really tough to say. But anyways, I'm just going for damage here. And now, the Squid is back in full health. The Bongus being low is really good for me because I can keep that off the field. We go for back row to cover for the potential bounce. We want to provoke the Bongus in case it wants to stay. It does in fact leave. So this is a probably demanding set Bandicraft. I actually don't remember all the turns, unfortunately. But this is one of the situations where if it's demanding set, it can't really shield and get value, so maybe it's not demanding set, and then it tries to shield. Nope, it goes for demanding set roll shot. I think that is a kill, so I have to switch. And this is probably Tornado Ball onto the Waddle. And then that's really good for me because it gets this back into sleep, which means this is forced to attack, so I can go for a Frazzle here. I'm trying to remember. I think it was... I wanted to switch in the Maraptor, but I think I was not able to because the chance of front row roll shot would have been too much. So I went for Frazzle knowing I'd barely survive the roll shot, I believe, is why. And I think I wanted the roll shot because I wanted it to go down to Sweaty. But unfortunately now it can't. So now my Waddle got a lot of health back, which is great. Push the Waddle out again, which is really good for me. Unfortunately, now I have a front row Daredillo on my hands, but the counter is not procced, and the Bandy is still asleep, so it can't give it a buff, which means I can switch pretty comfortably here. But I choose instead to go for the Frazzle, because I'd rather bring the Demolipede back online later than take a little bit of extra damage here. Which, thinking and looking at the bench, maybe it was the right call, maybe it wasn't the right call, because there's a lot of different ways this could have gone at this point, right? I could have swapped out, brought the Tord Anchor in, I could have gotten a Heartbreaker debuff on the Daredillo again. I could have brought in the Maraptor and tried to get some healing up on the bench and maybe brought the Demolipede back in. But getting stressed here with Tired on this is really good for me, especially when I still have Tornado Ball pressure. Serve goes into the Tord Anchor, which is fine for me, actually. I was surprised. I thought it would go into the Waddle. I thought it should have gone into the Waddle. I think maybe he was worried about me bringing in the Hog, but I'm not bringing that in yet. So anyways, we're going to force out. We're going to bring it right back on the field, and I've been getting a lot of momentum off of getting Frazzle and Tornado Balling the Frazzle user that's going to switch back onto the field. So that's been what's really been keeping me into this game at this point. So it has to be Bounce. This is the time that I decide to get the Raptor in. That's not a bad time at all. Quick set with some health and some good damage. And now, unfortunately, because of demanding set, I think I cannot double block. I don't remember. Maybe I do go for the double block. I don't remember what the situation is. But, like, despite having a situation, I don't have a call-out boost on the Raptor. The call-out boost is really not, like, possible at this point. And it's a provoke anyway, so I couldn't do the shield. Okay. So yeah, it's a single block, and it has to be single block because if I went for shield, I would have actually just lost right there. But now, of course, this is a problem because I have a roll shot Bandicraft that can do a roll shot to target the back row if I don't get back there. I have a Bongus that's healthy enough to come in. I think not necessarily on this turn if I go for the damage. But if I Roaring myself, then I'm screwed. I cannot take anything with Trade Dance. I don't think I want to, so I think really the play is I just have to get to the back row here, unfortunately. Oh, actually, I do not go to the back row. I was thinking between if I want to go to back row or if I want to clear field for health, and I ran out of time, so I very quickly volley Tornado Balled instead of doing like clear field volley Tornado Ball or back volley back row Tornado Ball because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do with the time, as well as the Roaring attack. I was debating on that as well, and because I couldn't decide, I ran out of time. So I just went for the play that I could get before the time limit went up, which I got punished for a bit here, taking a little more damage, and now we're getting spitballed. This Heartbreak is very good for me because it kills the Daredillo outright. I thought that the Daredillo might have walked to the back row, but it did not. So now I'm in a really strong position because getting that Daredillo kill when it's healthy is great. This bench is extremely low, and I need to be able to close it out against this Bongus. I am very lucky this Bongus bounce does exactly 31 to Tord Anchor, so it is not a guess. I can just walk right up to front here. Goes for the back row, so it does even less. But now I have a decision to make. So I go for Provoke on the Waddle, and then I think I go for the double Provoke, and I think it's because I did not have a kill on Bongus, so I couldn't even go for it. Or if I did have a kill on Bongus, actually, what's my Heartbreaker? No, I did have a kill on Bongus, but I think I did not want to guess. I did not want to risk the 50-50 of the Waddle moving to the side, because the Waddle could have moved to side. So I think I said, I can provoke both of these. I can push the Waddle out of position. I'll have something that's really low in that slot. It's going to be the Squid. Or if the waddle does move to the side, then I just win the game on the spot. So, I actually don't know if that would have saved it. Because that would have been 29 times 1.5, which is like 44. So no, actually, it is a good thing I did that call, because if I tried to go for damage, that Bongus welcoming switch would have saved the Bandicraft, and I would have lost the game right there, actually. So good play by him. This is now a demanding set spitball, but that's fine. So demanding set because he's playing to switch it, not planning to go for a shield mix-up. But it also means that this thing kind of has to stay put, or I think I just have a kill on the Bandy right here. Oh, I do not, because I got spitballed, because the spitball is menacing. But anyways, we do another tornado ball so that the waddle can't get into position. And now we have a counter that is not active, which gives me a little more time here. Another provoke, which keeps locking my waddle down, so my waddle can't block. And I'm wondering what I was thinking here. Because I think if I just brought like Hog, and I could have won the game, maybe, but I think that was risky. Or no, I think this thing could still move to side. But I'm still trying to find ways to not take risks. I want to see if I can win this safely. And unfortunately, the problem with Igor's team is basically every time he's switching, he's healing because of the Bongus. The Bongus can get clear fields off. The Bongus can get welcoming procs, and the Bongus is really what's keeping this team alive right now. I'll have a great day of dealing with it. Great way of dealing with it. So, at this point, I recognize nothing dies from a front row counter, and Hog actually does just win the game, so I bring the Hog in, and it's a guaranteed win because I can't be provoked. The quick set, super commit does take it out. Yep, nothing he can do. It even kills the waddle from front row. Or actually, no, because welcoming? Actually, no, I don't know. Where is shift is details? Jazz super commit does not kill the waddle off of welcoming. So no, I could have lost this once. This was a 50-50. Yep, this Bongus is insane. That was a 50-50, and I guessed right, and I didn't even realize it was a 50-50. I forgot about Bongus welcoming a game through as well, which is what ruined me, which is what we're going to see right now. And we're already 30 minutes into this recording, so maybe I should speed up a bit. But yeah, it was long sets. Luckily, these next games are a little shorter, as you can see. So, changes it up instead, goes for the tornado ball serve instead of the spitball serve, pushes out the turtle. I'm going to go for a back row sidewinder, and the reason why is because I know for a fact the waddle is going to get to the front row. And I want to get the damage debuff on their Daredillo and push it underneath. I do not want to hit the waddle to the side, because then the Daredillo can move to the side, waddle can pass, the Daredillo can attack. In this position, it is either Daredillo moves to side and it's free ball, or it's double volley and he's forced to stay stacked up. So this is one of those instances where Frazzle plus Sidewinder is really strong for controlling tempo, right? So now we get a free ball here. And at this point, it's like, do I do it again or do I go for damage? Because the Daredillo has a debuff, which means my super commit does a crap ton, and it also does a ton to anything that switches in. And very, very, very luckily, it keeps Bandy right out of full focus. However, I can get, if this Bandy switches in, even though it's not full focused, I can get front row quick set zigzagged off this Bandicraft switching in for the Daredillo. So, I do go for the super commit anyways, taking the risk. It is realized, unfortunately. So, now, it's a guess between this zigzag I know is going to kill me unless I click shield, and this roll shot, which... I forget what was the guess with the roll shot. I think it was that I just didn't want to click shield here because I didn't think it was going to attack the Hog. I thought the roll shot was safer, but I was in fact wrong, and I should have clicked shield here. So I clicked Frazzle. Yeah, that's right. I clicked Frazzle, trying to take advantage of the fact that the Hog would probably not be targeted. It'd be a roll shot to try to like play around the Hog shield and beat me at the guess. Because then, if I do click shield and the Hog is not targeted, and then I go for a another front row super commit, I'm like kind of screwed. But in that position, when Igor went all in, I I had a kill on everything except for Bongus if he stayed, so maybe shield was a better choice, and then I could just keep pressing the advantage and doing damage. So unfortunately, it was a 50-50, I guess wrong. Reset position here. So now this is a volley, and it's just a double volley, and this is again one of those things where I can't really gain tempo because I don't have a good support move on this Maraptor, but I can sort of get into position here. Now I can walk the Waddle upward, and I can get some clear fields going. And get some damage online. So this was a kill if it did not block, so I figured it was going to block. I don't know what the right move was. Maybe the right move was to target the Bongus instead. I just kind of don't want to get Tornado Balled, and I think that encouraging a support move enables me to keep this lock a little bit longer. The problem is, here I am now with a position I've been trying to get this whole game, where I get these two in together with the Clear Field and the Noisy. Problem is, my bench is healthy, so I'm not getting a whole lot of mileage off of it. So now instead it's just a double Clear Field Tornado Ball. And I guess wrong, it's a really funny push out. But I guess wrong on the double block because it's double Clear Field Tornado Ball. And now I get a point there, which is okay. I'm okay with the sidewalk. I figure the Waddle's going to switch, so I want to get some damage on the Bongus because the Bongus is a problem. Here comes the Provoke. I think I'll walk forward to cover for the bounce. Not sure if that was the best decision, but it's the one that I made. And now I'm doing Super Commit here because I am imagining I'm going to click Shield. I cannot click Shield because Provoke, so instead I'm going to walk to the side. And this walk to the side is really good for me because it means that my Hog can now self-wipe. I can get one last big damage attack off for the road, which is what I do here. And we get the kill for it. And now this is a really good position for me, actually. Unfortunately, this is not the serve I want. I would have much rather had the Tornado Ball serve, but instead I have to do the Free Ball serve, and I am specifically not doing it into their Dillo because I do not want the boosted counter. So we go to the Bongus, and that also stops, like double Clear Field as well. So this is probably, yeah, it's just a bounce. I was thinking about walking this Waddle forward and taking the bounce and clicking Clear Field twice, but I decided not to because my bench wasn't in the best position for that. And I figured there was also a chance that it was just the counter into the Waddle slot as well, which would have been devastating if I was wrong there. So we just take the point. Alright. We trait dance the Welcoming because I do not want the Waddle coming in and getting health back. And we Tornado Ball out. And I'm wondering if maybe I should have Tornado Balled the Bongus here instead of the Daredillo. Because then the Welcoming would have gone on to the Daredillo switch, and then probably would have gone to the Waddle anyway. Well, no, because it wouldn't have been Welcoming. What am I saying? Anyways. So this is the problem, is the Spitball spam happens because I pushed the Squid back in. And now I think I'm in a position where I can like do some call-out shenanigans, but I don't know how much it really does for me. But this is another position where the call-out, I mean, like, it's good, it keeps me alive, but I can't get rid of this Squid. And I'm attacking the Bongus now to try to pressure it out, but this is the wrong move because I don't want the Bongus to clear field and such. But I really should be pressuring out the Squid because this Squid Spitball is what's the death of me. I need this Squid gone so I can get some healing and so I can start recovering a bit. But now it's just going to keep spamming Spitball, and luckily it is shy, which means it's doing almost no damage, but I can't heal up anyway. So now I get the Squid out of here. Bongus comes back in, and Bongus gets its Welcoming back, which is not good for me, because it means the Waddle can come in. And then this is where I lose the game because I forget, well, not quite, still got a few turns. So Bounce comes, and here I go for... Oh, okay, so what do I do? So this is the conundrum, is that if the Waddle comes in, then I get to eat a quick set roll shot. If the... However, I do see that with quick set Demolish, it is enough to kill the Waddle. Problem is I forget about Welcoming. So Welcoming is going to bring the Waddle in, and the Welcoming is going to keep the Waddle alive. So this was a huge misplay, because I could have instead of quick setting, let me resume here. Instead of quick setting and going for damage, I could have pushed out this Bandicraft to bring in, right, I could have just done double volley Tornado Ball. And the double volley Tornado Ball could have pushed this Bongus into where the Bandicraft was, with this in the back row and this in the front row, and then this becomes a hog, and I'm in a much stronger position. Or the other thing I could have done is double clear field with the same play, getting a little less damage, but having a little more health on the front. The problem is then the Waddle still does the big damage with a roll shot zigzag, and it's not the best play. So, by far, how do I go back? Yeah. So in this position, and this is another instance of my action economy just being bad, right? Because I can... One more time. Okay, so... This was a bounce into a switch. So, I could have done single clear field Tornado Ball, which was by far my best option. I could have done double clear field into Demolish, which is, or Sidewinder actually, sorry, not Demolish, Sidewinder, because if I do double clear field into Sidewinder, I get some health back on the Maraptor, which is good. The rest of the healing is not super necessary, which makes that play not like the most appealing. But Sidewinder pushing the Bandicraft over behind the Waddle, with the Bandicraft having the ball, brings up that same scenario in Game 2, where the only options Igor has is pass to the Waddle to Tornado Ball and then move out of the way, or it can be a quick set and it can be a zigzag to try to go for a kill on Waddle, but it can never be roll shot. Removing the threat of roll shot gives me a lot of flexibility with the switches and the way that I want to change my move. I could probably even go for a block on the Waddle and probably survive even through the Jazz. Maybe not, because it's still a lot of damage, but this was like the only losing play. I really needed to play out the long game, and I needed to either force this out to get the Bongus into a dead slot, which would have been really strong for me, or I needed to just go for the Sidewinder play and get a little more healing. Either option was okay. I think the Tornado Ball is better, but this is just game losing because now it's a 50-50, and I have to guess between if this is going to be a zigzag and I switch out the Waddle, or if this is going to be a roll shot and I walk the demo back. If I walk the demo back, then it's a guess for me, where if I'm going to go for the enhanced Demolish to kill the Waddle, or if I'm going to go for the Sidewinder to kill the Bandicraft. So if I do guess right, it is not over. Unfortunately, I guess wrong. So that brings us to Game 4. And Game 4 is a much quicker game because I made some extremely poor decisions. So, how do I see the timeline? Okay, never mind. It's still a pretty long game anyways. But I think it was over pretty soon. So this time I elect to serve just for fun to switch it up a bit. We've been counter-serving all 3 games prior. So I push it out, I get to this position here. Obviously, the Sidewinder looks really juicy, except that this is going to be a counter walkback, so it's going to take like no damage at all and then do a ton of damage, even with just a double volley. And then I also have like the option of getting clear field bounce anyways, so it's really risky. So I think that I elect for a Tornado Ball. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I do go for the Sidewinder, but again, with the Waddle being provoked, and I have 3 beasties that really can't do anything with a provoked support, I have dead action economy, which is like what's ruining this team comp. So I do go for the back row Sidewinder. I figure it pushes the Daredillo off to the side. And now the counter is really threatening, so I switch in. Oh no, I frazzle, and I do live. So I think this was the wrong play. I think Hog coming in here was the right play, because the Hog would do a ton of damage. I think it would even net me a guaranteed point here if I do bring the Hog in. And most importantly, this demo being low but not down means that I pretty much have to let it die, or it's not going to do anything for me for the rest of the game. And I can go for the big Demolish for some good damage to take advantage, but I don't know if it's necessarily the right play. I think that Igor is not going to risk letting the play go and would rather stay in and move to the side. So I do something that's pretty smart as well. I do a Sidewinder, and the Sidewinder stops the counter from going up because it pushes this one to the side. It does allow a single volley into a move to the side, whereas if I hit the Daredillo, but notably there's no bounce, which means I can switch into the front row. So now I do the same switch that I was going to. I have a little less health. So I think this would have been better to do the turn before. The dugout would have still taken similar damage just because of the double hit counter, but I would have had more health on the double LP that I can heal up with clear fields later, and I would have been able to steal a kill regardless. So unfortunately, I lose the game pretty much this turn because I want to get really greedy. Oh, whoops. This super commit is enough to kill both, but it is not enough to kill the Waddle if it switches in, which is the obvious switch in. Or the Bandy, but the Waddle's the obvious switch in, so I really should just take the empty lane. With either a super commit if I don't want to risk it, or a Tornado Ball to save myself 10 HP, but instead I go for like a Mega Greed, and it was just a horrible, horrible play because now we have a Sitting Duck, that's provoked, can't do anything about it. A quick set gets this thing jazzed, even though it can't move up to the front row, which is enough to kill. And this is just a guaranteed kill on the Hog. And I gained, after sacrificing all of my HP on my Hog and almost all my HP on the Demolipede, almost no tempo, because this Waddle did not take a whole lot of damage. It's going to be able to deep breath it back up. It's going to be able to clear field and welcoming it back up. So that was basically a game-losing play. My bench is way unhealthier. I'm now down a point. I worked really hard to get that point set up, and I played it well in the beginning, but I just made some really, really poor decisions there. So because of that, I decide that I have to get a little greedy if I want to get my way back into this game. I decide I can't afford to lose a point on the Demolipede, which I think is a bad call. I think at this point I should have just thrown the point away here, and then tried to make a 3-point comeback. But we're going to call out, we're going to volley because I want to get some more sticking power. Probably not my best idea. Now that both Provoke and the Spitball are available in play, so I can't really do a whole lot with this Waddle. I think the clear field might have been a little better to get a little HP back and get the Demolipede back, because this thing's about to be a Sitting Duck. Can't block. I could do more call-outs, but like, what's the call-out really get for me? I could do a Provoke to stop the block, which is nice, but like there's no point blocking. It's going to be a switch. And now, of course, the Waddle is basically going to have all its HP back with a deep breath, and that entire play I did in the beginning with the Get Greed got me literally nothing. So we get Tornado Balled. I think I read the Tornado Ball and I don't bring the Hog in on purpose. And this is another greedy play because I had kill on both, and this is when I just decided I needed greed in order to win, because I had kill on both. I could have just gone straight for this angered Squid, which could not switch because everything died on the switch in. But the Waddle can move up. And I don't know why I thought, like, hey, maybe the Waddle wouldn't move up. That was just like a really poor greedy decision because I was behind. But, I mean, if I took the points better earlier in this play, I actually would have been ahead in this game, not behind. But I made two very, very poor decisions, and that just cost me the whole set. So, unfortunately, I really just wish I played this Game 4 a little better. I wish I made a better decision at the end of Game 3. But other than that, I think I played well. I think Igor played really well. And the problem is with this last set, Igor just didn't have any incentive to make risky reads or anything like that. He could just choose the safe risk-averse play, and it beats my stupid greedy reads every time. So, not a whole lot I could do. My bench is super weak. I can keep trying to hold on. His bench is strong. He's got a point lead. There's really not like there's nothing I can do to come back into this. This Spitball is going to keep me at bay. I can't get any healing up because of the Spitball, which means I can't recover my bench in any capacity. There's absolutely nothing I can do here. Also, this roaring does damn me because it means that this is now, like, I can't even switch out the Marauder if I wanted to because it's a guaranteed kill, and now my bench is just way too low. And this just chain kills on the Waddle, and that's the game. But yep, very, very, very bad Game 4 on my part. The rest of the games I did well. Game 3, I could have made a little better decision at the end of it. But other than that, happy with the way I played. I just wish I played that Game 4 better. Kind of sucks. I feel like I ruined the finals by playing like really stupidly on Game 4 when that was definitely a go-anywhere set. But at the same time, that set had been going on for like 2 hours at that point anyway, so I don't know. Maybe gave everyone a chance to go to sleep, I guess. But anyways, we're 48 minutes in. Let's ramble a little longer before I say goodbye to these teams forever and upgrade to the new patch. So Round 1 draft, this was against Reverie, and they had a Mystic Gremlin, so I was hesitant on bringing more body, but I wanted to do a funny shanty trait dance into Confident Supalero set where you can trait dance the Confident back and forth to keep giving attack and defense buff to both of these, and then the Stomp would keep giving buffs, and then you can combine Demolish with Shanty to constantly reset your rhythm. It was a really cute idea, and it would synergize well with my assumption that Reverie was bringing a Dread team, but I was completely wrong. Reverie actually brought a Clearfield team. It was 4 Clearfield users and a bunch of Heatwave, or Heatwave, I think it was just Heat Up users, and maybe like a Heatwave Mudsley or something. But anyways, I clinched that one by the skin of my teeth, by the Hog barely surviving. The Hog was specifically picked on my team to deal with the Reverie, but I was stuck with it, so then I decided for Draft 2 I was going to try Overwork and see how it does. Lo and behold, Overwork was really good. I found a really neat synergy for this round 2 match, which I carried through with me for a couple more matches before I stopped using it, and maybe this would have been something good to bring against Igor's team as well. And it's what I made my gift box team based off of as well that got 4th at that tournament. It was very close to this team. Actually, I think it was... Anyways. It was almost exactly this team, actually. But... I had Dig because I didn't realize the power of Quickset Hog at the time yet, but Dig is still a very good ability to synergize with Overwork here. The whole point is there is synergy where you have a Hog with a counter and you have a Bird with a Blaze, and if you have, like, let's say I have my Waddle and my Hog next to each other, they don't want to attack the Hog because it's going to be a procced counter with a Quickset, which means they're going to attack the Waddle, but then that means I just switch my Zephyr in for free, and the Zephyr clicks Blaze, and it's like it's a you-lose scenario, because if the Zephyr's in, then they're going to want to attack the Zephyr for sure, so I can switch the Hog in for the Zephyr slot, and then I can get counter up. So the Hog and the Zephyr played really, really well off of each other, and that was how I structured my offense for almost the entirety of this game. This is also where I discovered the offensive potential of Tort Anchor, with Heartbreaker being a surprisingly good move with decent mind power, nothing crazy, but like good enough to be scary. And most importantly, this was against Cog's team, and he had a lot of Spirit attackers, so Heartbreaker kept the Spirit attackers in check. So I feel like Heartbreaker Tort is actually really, really good for my team, because I had a lot of poor Spirit defense. You see I maxed Spirit defense on the Hog and the Demo for like every match. I was super lazy with my stat spreads, by the way. I was not about to do a lot of defensive calcs. There were a couple exceptions, but anyways, Game 3 was against Hallow, and that was the cross draft. This is where I decided to get funky with a Cook set, and I discovered a Quick set on Hog here, but Cook was fun because I assumed it was going to be a Rhythm team, and the Rhythm team was going to want to stay on the board, so if I get like one Cook up, then I could get the Rhythm team to have some debuffs and be forced to switch. Hallow did bring some Rhythm, but I think they were more focused on trying to make a rally team work with Hopra as the rally user, and the Hopra did a tremendous amount of damage. And it was very scary, but this was, while my match with Cog and Reverie were very, very, very close in like last hit, last round, this one was decidedly in my favor because of the team that Hallow brought. I just did better into. It was a rally team, but I also had my Surgus, which does well into rally teams. And the only real rally threat was Hopra, so it was mainly just using my Tornado Ball Waddle to keep the Hopra off the field and keep threatening the Hopra off the field with damage as well. As long as I played around the Hopra, I was fine. Desperate Force on the Zephyr was specifically so that I could get like 2 rallies up with the Surgus. Or I could get 2 clear fields of the Waddle. And I'm also thinking that D-Force would have been a good pick if I made my play economy a lot better against my last match against Igor. If I did Desperate Force and I had like better support plays, then I could have done Desperate Force double clear field. If I ran Hog with Calming Aura, I could have done Desperate Force Calming Aura. There's a lot of potential there. And Desperate Force on Zephyr is a really, really, really good draft league pick because there's a lot of like double support stuff you can get. Quick Tag was interesting here because I did not have any sideways pressure, and I really wish I chose Cut Shot over a contest for Surgus, because Quick Tag Cut Shot would have been very strong for threatening when the times Hallow was sitting in the back row, but the team was still good regardless. Round 4, this was against Oh my lord, I'm breaking. It was King of Charge. And King of Charge had two potential teams that he could have brought. He had a Mind team and he had a Spirit team. And the Mind team was like a zigzag team with Keladar and Skifrig, and like Albrax. And the Spirit team was just like Spirit offense, and the Skullcapee could be on like both of them. Again with like Keladar and Skifrig, and then like a Watchtower Fetch'em. So the Raw Fury and the Maverick were both to counter the Fetch'em redirection and the shield users that Charge was commonly bringing. The Surges had Jammer because I figure if it is a Mind team, the Surges is going to run over the Mind team. If it is a Spirit team, the Surges is going to contribute almost nothing, but I can use it to switch in and take hits every once in a while anyways. And then that was the same thing with the Tord Anchor with Heartbreakers, that if it's a Spirit team, I'm going to leverage the Heartbreaker on Tord Anchor a lot more. So it was the Spirit team, and this was also a very, very, very close set. Rumble was to stop the double volleys. I also suspected the Albrax would be a problem, which is part of the reason I structured this way. I think it was like Cyclone. I was thinking about doing Quick Tag Supalero, but I figured that Albrax would provoke and the Supalero would be a sitting duck, and then that wouldn't be good for me. So it was good overall. The next was against Derp Ghost, I believe, for my round 5. And Derp Ghost brought a what's the bat's name? The friggin' bat that gets buffs if you attack the other guy. I'm blanking. Frufolks. Brought Frufolks with redirection, and I just brought Raw Fury and Rocket, and that pretty much carried the game. Unfortunately, Derp didn't have a lot of counterplay to me counterplaying that strategy, so I was able to run away with the set pretty quickly with just being able to target into the thing that the redirection is trying to distract. Hog and Demo just kind of carrying that set for me. Whoops, do not want to delete. They'll end up deleting all these pretty soon. Round 6. This was the next cross-draft version. This was against Arctech. Arctech I presume to be a very, very challenging team for me because the Mystic Albrax combo, I figured was going to be very problematic. I didn't really have any great ways to stop it. Notably, this was the week that I made the trade of Supalero for Musclebound and Surges for Maraptor. I made the trade because the Musclebound became available, but honestly, I should have made the trade a long time ago for Maraptor plus like Crawlerk or another 4-cost beastie. I didn't end up going with Crawlerk because I didn't really think Muscle Memory was useful. I didn't have a whole lot of things to combine with Splinter, but it would have been another Provoke user, which would have been good. I don't think there were really any other good 4-cost beasties, and I think it was like I wanted Maraptor, but I didn't really have any way to justify it. Another funny thing I could have done was taken like Platena and Whisper, and then just had like a threat immunity to body damage and threat redirection on mind attacks, because in this patch, even Platena is really good, and it was only like 1 cost because it was super underrated. However, I already had decent coverage into both of those types. It was really the Spirit I was weak to, but since I was balancing out defenses, I don't know how much that matters anyways. So I ended up just taking Maraptor Musclebound, Muscle not being too useful, and Raptor being very, very useful. And this was a fun Thrasher set with Finisher, and the whole point was there was, I believe, a Torch Pass user, I don't even remember, but most importantly, the Hex on the Mystic. And then late trap so that I can get something wiped, and then the Maraptor could basically chain kill, because like Finisher plus Thrasher would one-shot basically everything on the team that wasn't Mystic on switching if it was below 50 HP or like below 80 HP, even if I had traps out. So it was a really fun setup. However, the real carry and the real reason that this matchup went from being one of, in my opinion, my hardest to my easiest was because Arctech did not have a clear field user, and when I saw that, I realized I could just run Drum onto Tord Anchor, and Drum Tord Anchor really carried this because I was able to get it off pretty much guaranteed since I was counter-serving and there was no spitball threat. So I was able to get Drum off at the very beginning. The Hawkeye Hog was also very fun because I can like Hawk. I think the start was it was Hog plus Tort, and I could just click Hawkeye to take a guaranteed whatever, and then like it was either If it targeted the Tort Anchor, it was Volley, Drum, Super Commit, or if it targeted the Hog, it was Drum, Provoke, Super Commit was the play. So it was like damned if you do, damned if you don't type of deal. And with the Drum up, the Mystic couldn't really do a whole lot. There was still some damage with the Provoke plus Nerve Strike, but other than that, it was able to stop the heat ups from the Mystic. It was able to stop the hexes from the Mystic, which was the most important thing, and I was able to mostly ignore the Mystic and threaten down the other side, which is great because leaving the Mystic on the field means it gives Maraptor more obvious targeting when that comes in. Desperate Force was so that I could get Drum back up again. Desperate Force was also for double clear fields if I needed to go for a clear field approach, if it was like secretly a Dread team. The clear field wasn't super needed. The Waddle was actually... didn't do a whole lot this game, but it didn't need to because the Drum carried, so that balance worked out for me. Round 7, this was against Pix, and this was when I brought Musclebound because I wanted Spitball, I think, when I wanted Sneak Attack. I don't 100% remember. I don't think the Muscle did a whole lot for me. I think Grit and then sacrificing Musclebound would have been a lot better to get a lot of damage here. But I know Pix was really scared of the bird because Pix brought the funny Boldler, Steadfast, Walk Up, and Ricochet strat, and if I had Maverick Tornado Ball, then I would have undone that, but I was basically running Flitting for almost every match anyway. So... for this match, I brought the Muscle, I think, just because I wanted to. I won 2-0 fairly decisively, and then we played a bunch of games after that, and Pix realized that they had the power of Heat Up, which did a lot into my team, and they could have probably played a little bit differently with leveraging the Skullage Heat Up more to really chip down my beasties, notably with no Chant users. I was kind of screwed in the long run. It was really tough to make tempo. But otherwise, just double quick set plus set. This is actually the match where I discovered set Tort Anchor, and I really should have brought this against Igor in the finals as well, because set gives me good action economy if I want to attack with the thing that's been attacked, and I don't want to attack with Tort, which happens fairly often. Most notably Spitball. There is... I have counter on Hog, and I have the Tornado Ball with the Waddle, and the whole point is the Waddle's going to sit up front, and you are going to want to Spitball the Waddle. Everyone wants to Spitball the Waddle, and the exact counter was you switch in the Hog, you take the counter, and then you give set, and something dies. It hard punches Spitball, and if I had that set up against Igor, I could have punished the Spitball, and I knew the Spitball was coming, but I didn't bring the right counterplay to it, so that was something I very, very struggled with, but I'd figured out in a previous match, so wish I recalled that and built my team a little differently around it. Round 8. This was against Balmar, and this was my only loss of the regular season. I team built like a coward and played like a fraud. I had an idea, a funny idea, for Roll Shot with Musclebound with Roaring Maraptor Echo Strike, and you Echo Strike with the Maraptor, and then you can shield with the Maraptor if you need to, or you can just walk up with the Musclebound, and then instead of running Smack, which gave me literally nothing because everything was dying in one shot and I had absolutely no leverage to Smack and get like buffs to try to counterkill something, you can do like a Juggle Roll Shot for a +1 roll shot with something that is noisied, and if it moves to the back and it's noisied, it dies. If it stays in the front and there's a switch, it dies, and nothing else can move to the back because the noisy is going to bring the roll shot to the front, it's going to die. And because Bali wants to get to the front and double block, this threat of roll shot basically cleans up their team. So I had that idea, it was really fun, and then I decided I'm on a win streak, I want to stick with the safe option, and I lost for it, and I'm happy I did, because safe is boring, and this is Draft League, and it's fun, but it's also kind of getting to the point where everyone's getting burnt out, like we're 8 weeks in, so, I don't know, I should have just gone with the fun thing, but I decided after that I was going to make fun teams no matter what, win or lose, so I did with this team against Bird. Bird was the last cross draft for round 9, and Bird had Yammoth, Trat, and Platy, and a bunch of other silly stuff for a bunch of silly strats, but I decided I was going to be sillier. So I did Steel Dump Tort Anchor with Quick Tag Waddle, so I could always threaten a dump on every turn, and I did steal some turns with dump. This was a very, very fun team. The fallback on bird did absolutely nothing for me. I was clicking air blast. I had no reason to ever click fallback. It was a terrible, terrible bring, but it was funny and it was fun. So I wanted to try something different. The fallback didn't work out, but the steal dump was actually crazy. Like, it was really, really, really good. It also made me think that instead of set, or even like instead of provoke, like I didn't even need provoke against Igor, but I wouldn't really know I wouldn't need provoke. I could have run corner shot as well to threaten the back row for the double block, and then the sweaty would have been really good for chipping down the slow healing teams, forcing switches when maybe he otherwise wouldn't want to. But otherwise, Chant on Maraptor was because there was the threat of some heat wave, and the heat wave did actually come. Yeah, Calming Aura has just been really good to me on the Hog. Anyways, round 10 was against Dino. This is a super close set, and it's the only set in the entire draft league I played without Quickset. And I thought of a way I could sort of hybridize this team with Quickset, and it would have been more effective, but just because I was on the streak of wanting to try fun things, I did not do that. So I went for a Shanty Stomp Tornanker set, which ramped way slower than I thought it would and thought it could. But the Shanty was still useful nonetheless. Set Provoke was good. I was content with camping in the back row. I figured there wouldn't be a lot of sideways pressure, and I don't believe there was any sideways pressure. Counter on Hog, as always, to catch a switch into something and do a ton of damage, especially when combined with a set, assuming that I can get rid of the Dread. So the key thing about this matchup is this matchup was like all field effects, because Dino likes to play with field effects. So I have Demo on the Demolipede, and I have Clear Field on the Waddle. And I had to navigate very, very, very carefully to set up my rhythm at a time where I wanted my rhythm to set up, and then also choose when to get rid of the field effects that were benefiting Dino when I needed to. And I think it was like the last game I won specifically because I could have gotten rid of the Dread and did not get rid of the Dread, and I needed to not get rid of the Dread and recognize that I had to not get rid of the Dread. But that was a very, very fun set and a very tough set as well. A long one, a good one to watch. Then my draft, where's my draft playoff one? There it is. So draft playoff 1, this was against King of Charge, and against Charge I wanted to be a little different. I decided to forego my anti-redirection and just see if I could bully through with some shield, super commit, quick set Hog, set Tornanker, quick tag Maverick on the bird, the quick tag into a Sidewinder to threaten sideways pressure at all times, while also having Maverick to get around the anti-redirection. Even though I don't have the Raw Fury on the Hog, I still had, I guess, one tool for the Fetch'em. I assumed it was going to be the Spirit team again this time, but I did prep for the Mind with a lot of heavy Mind invest on defense. Power Sap, Late Trap, Trade Dance on the Maraptor with Thrasher, just because I wanted more damage. I didn't really need the Roaring in this case. And then draft playoff number 2 was against Zonk, who also went 9-1 on the other side of the draft. This was actually a really easy matchup for me because I had 2 great users and I was not afraid to use them. So Zonk notably had 2 very strong counter serve options. One being Varkabond Armantis, and the other being Mudsley plus Dugout for a Heat Wave. So to stop the Grandma's trick for the Varkabond Armantis, I can simply lead with the Waddle and the Muscle Bound, and then I can Tornado Ball out the Armantis so it can't get the Fat Ricochet on me, and then I can still walk up and then avoid getting sliced cheesed. And then if it was the Heat Wave team, then I could just bring double grit users. And if I saw both next to each other at the same time, I would have led the Waddle plus Musclebound to hedge my bets, because I could not afford to guess wrong on the Grandma's trick. But if I had only one grit user with Sweaty, the Waddle being Sweaty kind of sucked, but that's what Chant on Maraptor was for. And I could also get Sweaty on the Hog by getting a Torch Pass like back onto the Waddle later anyways. So refresh on the Tornanker was actually insane. Kept me in for way longer than I thought it would, and it was incredible healing. Provoke was also really good. for keeping the torch passes in check, because Zonk had 2 torch passes. So really just these 3 carrying the these 3 sort of carrying the early game, and then the torch coming into the mid game to stop the torch passes was really all I needed. This last slot was super flexible. Raptor did just nicely. Power sat. I mean, the chant was really, really good. So actually, I think Raptor was needed for chant to get rid of the sweaty, which is super useful. Power sap with some clear fields and some refreshes really kept it alive. And I'm also wondering, maybe I should have ran refresh on Tord Anchor instead of call out as well, so I could get some healing up on the Raptor and keep it in for longer. I don't know, there was a lot of things good on the Igor set, but anyways, for the finals, so we got over a bunch already because this was the match that was in question. A lot of action economy issues by having like 3 beasties with conditional plays. Shield I don't think was the right call on Hog. I initially had this as a calming aura, or I was going to use this as my call out user, and then I was going to use set on Tord Anchor, which I think would have worked much better. Instead of super commit, I could have done counter, and I could have done the same counter plus air blast blaze setup with the Zephyr, which I think would have been good. It still would have been challenging though, because these spitballs would have been coming out, so maybe not super necessary. Demolipede, I didn't get nearly as much. I mean, I got a lot of mileage off of Sidewinder Frazzle in the mid games, but playing the slow game was not super advantageous for me. I felt like I had to make more risky plays than Igor did in order to get the tables in my favor, because Igor just had a better stall team. So I think that trying to get a strong early game with a Demolipede was also a mistake. I think that I could have easily swapped the Demolipede out for the Bird for more firepower and done much better. Musclebound I think would have been bad, because there's a lot of body defense on Igor's team, and also I thought it was going to be Diablo Ceres for sure over the other squid, and Diablo would have done the take away your trait and make my Musclebound do wussy damage thing, which would have been not great. Plus, also, if I really wanted the crit damage, I'd have to run Sacrificial Musclebound, which I did not want to do. All in all, it was still good. I just think that if I had this Trait Dance shield set on Maraptor, I need more support around it. So I think another shield user on Hog was not the best play. I think that I could have definitely done better with the demo set, but I think the Waddle set was good. It needed a ton of spitballs, but that wasn't the Waddle's fault. That was my team's fault for not being able to counter the spitballs when I could have run like set on Tord Anchor. I think a little more damage. If I ran like a standard offensive team, I think I would have done much better. But anyways, that was my draft run. Was a very fun time. I hope everyone enjoyed watching that watched. I hope anyone who's interested jumps into the community. The Discord is super friendly. Everyone's super chill. The Wishes Unlimited Discord, if you want to jump into that. It'll be a long break before the next draft league. I am looking forward to it. And then there's a bunch of other events and other Beastieball stuff along the way. We got a Big Moon Bash, and I'm going to be building a Bash team that is very similar to this draft team, because I'm curious how it's going to do in the next patch, and I also don't really have a lot of time to think about. I've got some stuff going on in real life, and I don't have a lot of time to think about making new teams for the new patch, and I'm also kind of exhausted from team building, so I'm going to make, I guess, one last funny quick-set team. It's probably going to be Zephyr Hog instead of the demo. And then, or no, I'm sorry, it's not going to be Zephyr, because it has to be one of the 4 beasties. It's going to be Hopra in place of Zephyr, doing effectively what Zephyr would do, because now it has Hum to give itself a free spirit buff. So it's going to be like, instead of the threat of Blaze Air Blast, it's going to be the threat of like Hum Super Commit or something like that. I've still got to quite figure it out, but it's basically going to be very similar to, I guess, like my COG team and my my other teams that were like that aggressive, damned if you do, damned if you don't, attack into the Hog or the Zephyr slot type of deal. And then maybe with a Maraptor in the mix. I don't know. But anyways, everyone, thanks for watching. Have a great whatever time of day it is for you. Enjoy life, get some fresh air, meet people, live your dreams. Yeah.